The Iran-Israel conflict is escalating fast with growing fears of a wider regional war. There are reports that the US may join Israel in attacking Iran, as President Trump demands Iran's unconditional surrender and a nuclear deal on US terms. Many believe Israel's ultimate goal could be regime change in Tehran. To help us understand how China is viewing these developments and what's at stake for Beijing, I'm joined by Einar Tangen, Senior Fellow at the Taihe Institute, founding partner of the Center for China and the World at City University of Macau, and founder of Asia Narratives. Welcome to TRT World, Einar.
Thank you very much.
What is China's greatest concern if there is a regime change in Iran?
So regional chaos and disrupted oil flows is a nightmare scenario for Beijing. 45% of its oil flows through the Straits of Hormuz. This would be very huge impact. It'd be unpredictable instability. It threatens China's energy lifeline and strategic interests. China's primary concern regarding regime change is the potential for severe instability across the Middle East. In addition to disrupting oil supplies, it jeopardizes extensive investments in the region by China and the Belt and Road Initiative. And an unstable Iran would create a massive power vacuum. China's desires to project a responsible power image globally, so they would be very concerned.
If the US formally joins Israel in direct military actions against Iran, how is China likely to respond, diplomatically or otherwise?
It's probably going to be diplomatic. They'd see it as a reckless escalation, a dangerous violation of international law, certainly of the UN Charter. Beijing would condemn it, call for restraint, and decry a broadening conflict. China would, while it's condemning these actions, there's not much it can do. It'll urge all parties to exercise maximum restraint, try and de-escalate. And while there are significant economic ties to Iran and the rest of the Middle East, the reaction would be probably diplomatic. It's really does not want to have a direct confrontation with the U.S. because there's no endgame involved. What they want to do is preserve their image as a responsible global power, avoid direct confrontations, especially with the United States.
Okay. And what are China's red lines in this conflict, though? At what point do you think could Beijing feel compelled to move beyond statements and engage more actively?
China really sees the danger as direct attacks on the civilian infrastructure, nuclear sites. This would set a very dangerous precedent. It's already happened, and they see this. If countries are going to use this, well, I feel afraid, I'm justified in taking action. Well, that's exactly what Russia said when they came to Ukraine. Now Israel's saying it, but for some reason, the U.S. believes that Russia should not be afraid of insecurity, although it was, knocking on the doors and putting missiles 5 minutes from Moscow. But when it comes to Israel, everything is fine. There's nothing they can't do, no country they can't bomb. So the conflict, from China's point of view, they don't want it to spread. So they strongly, they want to see this over. They're going to try everything they possibly can. But it's not a situation where they, as I said before, they're not going to get involved in a direct confrontation with the U.S. because there is no way that anybody could win in such a scenario. There's nuclear-armed powers, and they just hope the world looks at this and realizes that the U.S. has isolated itself through its own actions and the actions of its minion, Israel.
However, there are claims on social media and in some reports that China is perhaps providing military, logistics, and even weapons support to Iran during this conflict. Reports of Chinese military cargo planes landing in Iran have circulated in social media. Is there any truth to these reports and assertions? And what is China's official stance on offering such support?
Okay, so I'm not a spokesman for the Chinese government, and I am not privy to any of these rumors or information directly from them. I can tell you that China has longstanding ties to Tehran. That is possible. They have supplied military hardware in the past and continue doing so, but it only for defensive purposes. Remember, It's Iran who has been attacked by Israel with the support of the United States. The United States, I think, is trying to spread this narrative that somehow, they're battling China indirectly, and that China's, manipulating Iran. And this could not be further from the truth. It's a situation where, China just is in a delicate balancing act. It wants to be responsible, but at the same time, it cannot afford to plunge the world into a nuclear nightmare.